Welcome to Living the Way, hosted by Pastor Charlie and Dr. Melanie Jimmerson. Step back and join us as we take a closer look at how the Bible really can and does apply to our lives today. We really do value your feedback, so write a comment and don't forget to share so your friends will be blessed as well.
Welcome back to Living the Way.
All right, we're here today.
Yes, we're here. Now, we've been through Palm Sunday, we've been through Resurrection Sunday, and now we just want to talk about some, I think it's very interesting, prophecies.
See, this brings all of that together.
Right.
It just ties it all up.
It does.
If you can find the original prophecy, which we have nowadays, we have AIDS.
Yes, praise God for AIDS.
When I was first in school, man, I had to look for myself. I didn't even have a concordance, you know. Well, it was probably good for me that I didn't, because I wouldn't have read the word as much. But now we have all kinds of aids, and so we have good old computers too.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what I'd do without my computer. Well, yeah, I do, because I can remember when I used to prepare a message. I would have on our kitchen table, we could not use our kitchen table all that week
because you had too much
because
junk
I
on
had
it.
all the books laid out, and I had them opened up right to the right places and everything. Yeah. And I'd go from book to book and be making notes and everything. And, you know, one of the kids, you know, they knew that they'd be put in jail or something if they touched one of those books. Because it was, but now...
You wouldn't have done it.
It's all on my one computer. You know, I have a computer, and I'll just type in something, go like, well, I wonder where else that is in the Bible. And I just hit a button, and it just pops up. No more searching, really. I mean, the Bible...
Which is probably not all that good a thing, because it makes it too easy for us, so we don't have to learn the word.
Right.
But we learn how to look it up.
Yes.
But it's still better if we have a lot of the word memorized. And
right.
I'm slapping my own hand on that one. Let's look at my own hand.
So we've got some prophecies about what has happened over these past 2 weeks. You know, you can actually find the last week of Jesus' life. It's recorded in the Bible. And it's probably one of the only places where you can actually go from like day to day to day to day to day.
Yeah, the last 48 hours especially.
Right. Yeah. And so we do that. But then, you know, you need to look at the prophecies. That's different. And I've got this back in my notes here somewhere, and I'm going to go to this first. I wasn't going to do this. But I want to let you all know that scholars, biblical scholars, they estimate that Jesus filled over 300 prophecies. It's, you know, some go as much as 380.
Wow.
You know, the mean is around 340, 350. Most everybody can agree on. But over 300 prophecies of his first coming.
You know, that just to me just validates that you can find the New Testament in the Old Testament, all through the Old Testament.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
If you don't even have your hands on a New Testament, you can find it in the Old
Jesus
Testament.
is in every book of the Bible.
Yeah.
You just got to look for him.
Yeah.
Now, mathematically, the author, his name was Peter Stoner, I believe. Peter Stoner. He famously calculated the probability. Okay, this is the probability. He's a mathematician. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The probability of 8 prophecies being fulfilled by one person. Okay.
And the probability was
1 in 10 to the 100th power. That's 1 in 100 quadrillion chances. 1 in 100 quadrillion. I don't even know what a quadrillion is, but I mean, it just amazes me. And Jesus didn't fulfill 8. No, he fulfilled them all.
Right.
Not a one was overlooked. And that's why it is so important for us to know some of these things, because what do you say when someone says, well, I don't know if he was the Son of God or not. Okay, well,
let's look and
yeah,
see.
you explain how he fulfilled all those prophecies. That wasn't made a month before he fulfilled them.
No.
Centuries, some of them.
Here's one of the earlier ones. This is in Psalms, and who wrote most of Psalms was David.
Mm-hmm.
All right, David lived in the year 1000 BC, somewhere in that first right about at the crinkle. That's what I call it. At the crinkle of when of a millennial year, and so he foresaw so much of the resurrection of the crucifixion.
Yes.
He saw so much of the crucifixion and wrote about it. I mean, even to the point of, my God, why have you forsaken me? And so, we have a good picture of the resurrection, even 1,000 years before the Lord suffered. And, you just can't deny.
That's right.
The probability of that is just unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah. A quadrillion.
Yeah.
I like that word. I'm going to say it
100 quadrillion.
100. I'm going to say that 3 or 4 times a day just to see if anybody knows what it is.
But, David prophesied in Psalm 41 that he would be betrayed by a friend.
Betrayed by a friend.
Yes.
It's very, let's see, I want to go to verse 9. Okay, so this is Psalms 41, verse 9. This is in the Old King James, but listen to this. Yes, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted. And this is David living this in his own mind. He sees it in his own mind. In whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me. And, back then that lifted up his heel means that he betrayed him. He turned his back on him.
Yeah.
His heel is on the back.
Yeah.
He turned his back on him and went and betrayed him to something. And so, to someone. And you can even find that in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
But we're looking today specifically about...
And then in Matthew, though, is the fulfillment of that
right.
we see. And I have it in the New Living Translation in my note. It says, then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 disciples, went to the leading priests. And if you read that on, he made a deal for 30 pieces of silver to betray Christ.
I've always thought it was interesting. There's got to be something to this. Why not 30 pieces of gold?
Right.
Why silver?
Because in Zechariah, it says that if you like to give my wages, whatever I am worth, but only if you want to. So they counted out for my wages 30 pieces of silver.
Oh, there you go.
It was prophesied.
So he was only worth 30 pieces of silver.
Right.
And the worth of it is quite a bit smaller than the worth of maybe even one gold coin.
Right. That's exactly what happened. You can see that in Matthew 26. And guys, you need to write some of these down because we're not going to read every last one of them. Matthew 26:15 is the fulfillment of that when Judas betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. Yeah. Now, that's a very specific amount.
Yes, it is.
To be written by Zechariah and now fulfilled when Jesus is being betrayed.
Right. And this is not only told in Matthew, but in 3 of the 4 Gospels.
That's right. So, well, I didn't want to, otherwise we'd spend 30 minutes just reading a couple of scriptures.
But this is interesting.
Yes.
Listen to the modern language of this. This is he uses the New Living. Yeah. But I want you to hear this. So Judas is talking to the high priest, and he says, how much will you pay me to betray Jesus to you? Now, he doesn't say to betray my friend,
right?
To betray my Lord or any of that. He says Jesus. He kind of gives it a little bit of a thumb back, and I've always looked at that, and I feel so sorry for Judas for this reason.
Yes.
Because he lived with him for 3 years probably,
Yes.
and he just wanted to go,
Well,
Jesus.
And we know at the Last Supper is some of the saddest scriptures, is because when Jesus identifies Judas as the betrayer,
Yeah,
Jesus tells him to go do what he's going to do.
yeah. Jesus.
But the sad part is it says Judas left, and it was night. And for me, when I first saw that, I'm going like, oh my goodness, he left the light of the world.
Yeah.
The original light. He left that light and went out into darkness.
Right.
What a sad thing to think that he had the light of the world was right in front of him, and he chose to walk out into darkness.
Right.
It was his choice.
There's a story that, and Billy Graham told this story even while he was preaching at the big conferences he had, that his best friend in college decided that he just did not want anything to do with all that religion and Jesus and all of that stuff. And he made the remark, I saw it one time on TV, he said, he left the light for the dark.
Yeah.
So people can do that.
Yes. It's your choice.
Yeah.
But guys, it's also your choice to choose him.
Yes.
So
Be smart about it.
yeah, I just like that line in one of the Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the guy said, choose wisely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he stole that from Joshua.
Yes, he
Joshua said, this day, good and evil, all this, but he says, choose life or death.
Yeah.
But then he says, choose life. He gives them the offer, okay, you choose.
Yeah.
Choose life or choose death. And then he goes, hey, stupid, choose life. No, I did the stupid part.
Well, he probably did.
Yeah.
And they cut that out of the Bible.
Yeah. But I have, in my notes, I have a couple that the fact that it was predicted that Jesus would be pierced in his hands and feet, and also that they would cast lots.
Yes.
Now those are two very, what I would consider kind of one, the pierced, that was kind of common with crucifixion.
Okay.
But when it was prophesied, crucifixion wasn't even a thing.
That's right.
It had not been invented.
The
The
Romans were not in control yet.
Right. And so, but it was prophesied that it would happen. So that part of the being pierced in the hands and feet, going like, whoa, wait a minute. I could understand that.
Right.
If crucifixions were going on.
Right.
But it hadn't been invented. Now, the casting of lots for his clothes, what a minuscule little thing to me, that just proves the validity of these prophecies and being fulfilled, because even the minutest little detail was taken care of.
That little tunic that his mom made for him, that's all he wore. He wore that and with a sash or something on it, and sometimes a coat over it. But they weren't really interested in his coat as much as they were his tunic.
Right.
It must have been made out of something really good.
Yes.
I think mohair. Or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that.
Well, I think Mama did.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. She knew who he was.
Yeah.
Now, she may not have understood fully,
Right.
but she knew. Now, guys, these are written centuries before crucifixion was practiced, and especially, out of Israel. And the fact that the smallest details of the cross were already foretold.
Right.
It is amazing. What you got there?
So I'm looking over here in Isaiah because I'm going to skip over Zechariah for just a minute.
Okay, that's fine.
Because there's a lot of information in Isaiah, and we overlook Isaiah too much sometimes. I think.
Yes.
And so, And two of the things that we forget to preach about is the fact that Jesus was so disrespected by the Roman soldiers. They
Yes.
not only was he sent back there for the scourging, which
Mhm.
is just so awful I can't even talk about it.
Right.
But before all of that happened, they made fun of him and
Yeah.
spit on him and
Oh, pulled his
so-
beard out.
yes.
I mean,
Plucked his
hey,
beard.
a guy that's got a beard, I'm telling you, it's
Don't be
tender.
pulling on
Yeah,
it.
don't be pulling. You know, the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, my kids, when they were babies, they learned real quick not to touch daddy's beard. You know, but what does babies do? Babies always go for the hair.
They
Well,
do.
daddy didn't have any hair on top. Okay, so they're going after the hair he had. And,
Yeah. But the disrespect that they didn't care that he might be somebody really great.
Yeah.
They-
I don't think that even entered their mind that he even could be.
It makes me wonder though,
He was a Jew.
if Barabbas, who was the malefactor,
Uh-huh.
it makes me wonder if they treated him as badly. I think
No,
he would have fought back. I don't think I think Jesus was treated more worse than any of the other
Right.
malefactors. So
Yeah, well, and I think he was because of who the Jews were claiming him to be.
oh yeah.
So it was like them saying,
Oh, good idea.
I'm bigger than your God.
Yeah. And remember, don't forget, everything that happened during this particular 48 hours was orchestrated. All the terrible things that happened to Jesus were orchestrated by the devil. And the devil, the word Hasatan, that's really, I don't call him Satan because of this reason. That's giving him a name.
Mhm.
And his punishment was that he would be banished and unnamed.
Right.
So we refer to the Jewish scriptures refer to him as Hasatan. Ha is an article that means the, and Satan, of course, means deceiver.
Mhm.
So he is the. But,
He is the
but
deceiver.
thankfully, by the time we get to our age, we just call him the devil.
Yeah.
But he is there.
Yeah.
He's there orchestrating all the terrible things that he can. But somewhere in the middle of it, he kind of smartened up and realized, wait a second, he can't die.
Right.
If he does,
Yeah.
I'm sunk.
Yeah. Well, Satan, and I just want everybody to know that he does know the scriptures.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Oh.
He can quote them.
Right.
But does he know them really? I don't think he does. He does not understand.
He still thinks
what,
he can overcome.
Otherwise, he would have never had Jesus killed.
No.
If he understood the scriptures, he would have never orchestrated it to where he would die. Maybe looked down upon, mocked, all that kind of, yes, but killed? No, because that sealed his fate. Now, Miss Melody, we have already gone. Look, we've got a little over 6 minutes left.
Oh, goodness.
I know. So what I want to do is I want to kind of go through these, and we're going to give them the scriptures.
Okay.
So
Good.
you all
Let's do
get
that.
ready to write some things down.
Get your pencil sharp.
And we're going to go through these just real quickly because
Okay.
I think every last one of them is important. So we understand the depth that God went through to prove who Jesus was and is. So,
Is still today.
yes. Now, I'm going to let you go through that list, and,
Okay.
and you can just go through, and I'll go through the list I had,
Okay.
the extra list. I'll start. He was given vinegar to drink. Now, some people say, that was prophesied. Here it is. You ready? Psalm 69, verse 21. It was fulfilled in Matthew 27:34, where it actually happened. And it shows that his suffering was not random. It actually followed a script from beginning to end.
The script's over here
Yes,
in the Old Testament.
that's right. Go ahead and give him one there.
Okay, so we were talking about how he was beaten and spat upon. That's Isaiah 50, verse 6. And the fulfillment is so interesting. The fulfillment is in Mark. Then some of them began to spit at him, and they blindfolded him and hit his face with their fists. And who hit you that time, you prophet? See how they disrespected
Yeah.
him? They jeered. They hit him, and then they jeered. And even the guards were hitting him as they led him away. See, the guards were supposed to guard him.
Right.
The guards were supposed to make sure he wasn't killed
Right.
before the crucifixion. They didn't do anything.
The next one I have is that they were that Jesus was silent before his accusers. He didn't try to defend himself. Isaiah 53:7 is where that's prophesied. The fulfillment is in Matthew 27, verses 12 through 14. The priest wanted him to answer them, and he didn't. He wouldn't.
Well, because this is where the pearls before swine comes into play. It's just, why bother? They're not going to listen, and they're not going
Right.
to believe. One of the things, let's go back to Isaiah 53 for a second.
Oh, 53 is good.
Yes, all of it is good. Substitutionary death. And Isaiah wrote it, yet it was our weaknesses he carried. It was our sorrows that weighed him down, and we thought his troubles were punishment from God for his own sins. Well, Jesus didn't sin.
That's right. He was sinless.
But he was wounded and crushed for our sins. He was wounded and crushed for my sin.
Right.
That hurts when I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
He was beaten that we might have peace. He was whipped, yet we were healed. I can come to tears just reading that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But Mark says, I love Mark,
Mm-hmm.
for even I, the Son of Man, came here not to be served. I don't want to be served.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to serve others and to give my life as a ransom. The word ransom means redeemed. And that's one of my favorite words,
Yes.
is redeemed. And that right there, there you see the substitutionary death, and yet you see in the New Testament how that works out as a redemption, to be able to affect a way where human beings can be redeemed from their sin.
Right. And, Jesus, his restraint was not weakness.
Mm-mm.
It was obedience. He was crucified with criminals. Isaiah 53, again. I told you 53 is good.
Yeah.
Verse 12 prophesies that. Mark 15, here we are in Mark again. Mark 15, 27, 28 shows that he was crucified between two robbers. Let me tell you, even his placement, or the placement of the cross, was a fulfillment. Mm-hmm. Why was he in the middle one? He could have been one on the left or one on the right, but no, he was in the middle one. So why? Because it was prophesied. Because
right, right. And in practicality, at the time that they were all on the cross, that way he could hear the confession of either malefactor. Mm-hmm. And one of them said, a confession.
Right.
Remember me today. Me. And the other one said, well, who are you that you're so great?
Save yourself and us too.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we got a little over a minute.
I want to talk about this for just a second. Not a bone broken. Yeah. This isn't controversial, by the way, because Romans, as a manner of practice, the Romans would always break the legs of the people on the crosses, right, usually before they stood them upright. Yeah,
because crucifixion was death by suffocation. Mm-hmm. That's what crucifixion was, because they would be hung up there, okay, and they would actually push with their legs because, to be able to get a breath. They'd push with their legs. So when they decided that it was time for them to actually die, they'd break their legs to where they could not push up, and they would actually end up suffocating.
And they would break their legs with a big, heavy mallet.
Yeah.
And they would just
And they went to Jesus, and he was
already
dead.
In fact, Pontius Pilate said, we've got a request here for this Jesus' body when he dies. And they said, oh, he's already dead. And he goes, he's already dead?
Yeah.
He was astounded that
Yeah.
Jesus had already been taken. Well, we know
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, come on. He had 39 lashes.
Right.
And no medical attention, so 39 lashes. He beat, all this kind of stuff, had to carry that cross and everything. Now he's nailed in his hands through his feet. Come on. How much blood do you have to lose before you die?
Well, and he didn't think about that.
Right.
But the reason that his legs were not broken wasn't because it was not convenient.
Right.
It was because it was prophesied.
That's right.
In Psalms 34:20.
Mm-hmm.
And so, let me just say, sometimes people get that wrong, and they keep saying his body was broken for our.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there is scriptures but it's not
that kind
broken.
Of breaking.
It's not a breaking of the bones. His body was broken for us, but not a bone was broken.
Right.
And guys, they now, I don't know. I've known people say, well, if they nailed his hands in the palm, that the skin would tear, And so a lot of people believe that they nailed him right here in between this bone and this bone, and that way he could hold weight. I don't know which one it was. I really don't care. I know he was nailed to that cross.
For me.
That's what counts.
For me.
And it was for me too.
And for you.
So he wasn't abandoned at the grave. The sign of Jonah. A lot of people miss that. The sign of Jonah said, that Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days, and so was Jesus. And the ascension was talked about and prophesied. We've got that he was mocked. That about the potter's field, where Judas was going to be
even
buried.
That.
It all was in there. And so, guys,
not even germane.
Let me tell you, there is so much that was, now, like I said, there's over 300 prophecies that were fulfilled. That alone ought to be enough to, if you don't know him, ought to perk your little antennas up a little bit and say, maybe I need to check this out a little bit more.
Send us a question.
Yes.
We are very much into our audience asking us questions. If we don't know the answer, we have books that will give us the answer.
Right.
And we will answer you, especially if you leave us your email or some way of getting hold of you.
And guys, all you have to do, if you private message me, I will private message you back.
Well, that's
okay?
right.
So let me know. But let me tell you, fulfilled prophecy is God's actual fingerprint on our history.
It is.
It is. It is God's way of saying, I told you ahead of time so you would know for sure this is my son. And if there's one thing that I know, Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And he is my Lord and my Savior. And let me tell you, he's got to be both.
Yeah.
He will not be one without the other. So make him your Lord and Savior today. Amen. If you need help, let us know. But the best place to go find out.
Go to church a lot.
Go to church a lot. So until next time, good night. God bless.
Thank you for watching, and remember, be in church tomorrow. If you don't have a home church, you really need to find one. The church needs you, and you really need the church.